Welcome everyone to the Skylemar Star interview series, where we interview Skylemar stars across the world, learning about their stories, camp connections, and lives beyond the 04055. Today's guest is Jesse Finkelstein. Jesse Fink was a 7-year camper. I don't know if you really knew that or not, but and JC from
I thought I was an 8-year camper, but
2004 to 2010,
that makes
affectionately
sense.
known as Tasty at Skylemar. Jesse
Sure.
was widely appreciated at Skylemar as a great friend, fun person, impressive athlete, and perhaps one of the greatest I See Day and Color War songs and cheers writers of all time. Jesse was always a musician. Since his early years, he's parlayed those skills into working in the music industry as an artist, songwriter, and producer. I want to ask you what your official title is here in a second. Originally from the Upper West Side of New York City, now living in LA. I'd like to welcome Jesse Finkelstein. And so, Jesse, two things I want to know first is how do you get your nickname at Skylemar? And then two, about what you're doing professionally at this point.
All right. Thank you for the intro. I'd first like to say that athlete statement was very nice. I'd say I was a mediocre athlete at best, but made up for it in hustle. The nickname Big and Tasty came from a coach back in New York, actually, and I told it to a counselor one day, and they ran with it, and then everybody else ran with it, and then it just got shortened to Tasty. But yeah, big part of my camp identity.
Yeah, and so the coach in New York was just like, "This is a kid. He's big and tasty." And
I was just giving off big and tasty energy on the basketball court, and he was just like, he's the big and tasty. And then that was the rest is history. It was my screen name on IM for a couple of years. Yeah, and so now I am living in LA, and I'm a full-time songwriter producer.
nice. And what is like? Tell me about what that means on a day-to-day basis. So I know, you're a Grammy-winning songwriter. I guess so. Like, you help write a song, they create that song, perform it, and then that song gets acknowledged for an awards, and then you're a part of that. Talk
Yeah.
to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I mean, my job kind of changes by the day, like depending on who I'm working with or what I'm doing. A lot of the times I'm in the room with artists, kind of helping bring their vision to life. Sometimes I'm without an artist, and it's just some other songwriters and producers, and we're making a song and sending it out to try to get cut by some big artists. But yeah, no, it all changes. I like to work with artists because it just is the most fun and collaborative to me. But yeah, so I've just been working across. It's cool because I was in a band before, and felt like I was kind of boxed in when I was in the band to doing one sound or one thing, and now I get to wake up and make a pop song one day and a folk song the next day and a hip hop song the next day, and it's just like I get to switch it up a lot, which is really nice.
Nice. And are you officially affiliated with a record company, an agency? How does that work?
Yeah, I'm with a publishing company, which is kind of like, in the simplest terms, like a label for a songwriter. Um, so they give you an advance, and take on the back end, and they help facilitate a lot of my life. And I also have a manager. Yeah.
And tell me about some of the people that you've worked with, people I probably recognize, and if you can, like maybe some things that we as the general public might not know about those people. They're really funny, quirky. Like tell me about some of those people.
Yeah, so I mean, I worked with John Legend, who I won the Grammy with, and he's just uh just a nice, smart man. I think I broke his toilet handle of his studio. It just stopped working, and then I kind of left the studio. So that's my only fun fact about him. A cool thing that I definitely, feels full circle is, I used to at camp, like talent shows and campfires and stuff. Used to love playing songs by OAR, and I started working with Mark Roberts, the singer of OAR, and did like worked on the majority of their last album, and now he's become a good friend of mine, and it's just cool. That's like a real, I often tell him how surreal it is to like go from playing I Feel Home at a campfire to just like him listening to my ideas.
Yeah, dude, that's epic. And
Yeah.
good dude, really nice people.
Oh, great dude. Could be the mayor.
Nice. Let's
Yeah.
I love that. Who are you working with right now?
I'm working with there's a couple new things that are coming up right now that are exciting. There's a kid named Artemis out of London who's kind of having a moment, and I'm doing a lot of his stuff. A kid named Miles Smith who's also coming out of London. But I just have been working on kind of whatever. Like I just whatever I'm put into that if I get sent something and I like it, I do it. So
Well,
yeah.
you kind of have the freedom to pursue the leads that you want. The publishing company says, "Hey,
Yeah,
this person is really up and coming. We'd love to for you to collaborate with them." And they're in LA. They meet with you at a recording studio, or you write it and then you send it to
yeah,
them.
yeah. At the end of the day, it is like all my free will. Like if I never wanted to write another song again, I could do that. It just wouldn't be good for anyone. But like, so they, send me ideas, and sometimes I say yes, and sometimes I say no. And then I also have stuff set up by getting pulled in by other producers and writers who I know. That's how a lot of good stuff happens a lot. And then there's also, the beauty of Instagram now is that if
Mm.
I'm scrolling on TikTok and I see something cool, I'll just shoot them a DM, or sometimes people will DM me. And, these could be people that live wherever, in another country or another state. And sometimes we'll get on Zoom like this and start an idea, or sometimes they'll be like, I'm coming to LA in X amount of time, and we'll link up. So it really comes through a bunch of different avenues.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. All right, so I want to set the record straight. So without question, like you were an athlete. I'm assuming you still are in some capacity. Basketball probably being your strongest avenue.
That's on my shoulder. That was the end of my basketball career.
You did? When did you mess up your
Yeah.
shoulder?
When I was a junior in college, I dislocated it, and then I
Oh,
never got surgery on it. So I hope my basketball days are not all behind me, but they're mostly behind me.
so you don't still have your collegiate high school penny and get out.
No, I have that obviously, and I'm still great for tugs, but that's about it.
So tell me a little bit about your relationship with music and sports, and again, like what worked for you at Skylemar as a kid. Like obviously you enjoyed the sports at Skylemar. So tell me about that.
Totally. I mean, I think that when I started playing music when I was in like second or third grade, but I think that my first passion in life was sports. And so when I went to Skylemar when I was 10, um, it was heaven, A, because I met some of my best friends and it was just the best time ever. Obviously, still look back on it as the best time ever, but also because I got to play sports all day. Um, and then, like a little bit into my time at Skylemar, I realized I was getting really into music. And it was cool because I felt like in this sports setting, people really embraced the fact that I was into music. It wasn't like, I've hear artists or different people talking about sometimes about being ridiculed for playing music when they're younger or whatever it is. But I was just met with open arms at Skylemar, and people really supported me in the talent show and in songs and cheers and all that. And yeah, so it was cool because like Color War was a great example of just I would go super hard in sports, and then really like my biggest sport was songs and cheers. But yeah, I would say these days now my life uh, skews more music than sports for sure. I still like sports, but yeah, I think that there's definitely a way to incorporate both. If my shoulder wasn't messed up, I have a lot of music friends who play basketball every week, and like that's the two can overlap.
Yeah, you got to get that shoulder right. Got to get.
No, dude, I know. For the
Uh,
eight,
all right, so some rapid fire questions here. Would love to know your favorite counselor at camp and why.
that's such a hard question. I mean, like, my mind jumps quickly to Woody, who was my first counselor, who Brandon Harwood. brother of Blake and Zach Harwood, two color war captains. And he was a great counselor just because he played guitar as well, and that was like it was an early person that I looked up to who did music, and now we're still in touch, and that's awesome. Uh, Also loved my counselors, uh, Sean Walton and Tim Dalton.
Jimmy
They were
D.
great, and of course Chuck. Chuck was my guy. There's so many. There's so many counselors who were great and meant a lot to me. Drew Ginsburg, ZLP, the legends.
Right, I love it. All
Yeah.
right, and best songs and cheers song of all time. And do you remember any of the songs that you created?
Best song and cheer song of all time was by me. It was to the tune of "I Will Follow You Into the Dark" by Death Cab for Cutie, and I'll go down saying that. That's a hill I'll die on.
Let's go. And favorite camp meal, evening activity?
Evening activity, probably pine cone auction. Was a big pine cone guy.
Mhm.
Um, as well as having gone to a all boys school, socials were obviously, you know,
We thrive.
major moment in my life, especially as I as I blossomed into myself. Pine cone auction that, I mean, anything color war. Favorite meal, I liked them all. I mean, if you couldn't tell, I love food. Um, Let me think. I mean, obviously, wing night was epic. I loved any cookout. I just thought that I just love eating outside. I don't know how much you guys still do that, or if you do it more now, or what. But that was anything outside. Yeah,
Nearly 100% of the time these days, we're outside. We built a
I
pool
love it.
next to the rec hall, so it's nice.
I love it.
Next question is: you still keep in touch with your camp friends? Feel free to shout any of them out at this
I
point.
do. I do. I keep in touch with a good amount of them actually. Goldsmith, of course, my guy. Danny Dickstein, Max Cook. Um, who else? There's definitely Dan Gordon. Dan Gordon was actually went to school with me, and he was my little brother in my frat, so brought the Skylemar along with me to college. Yeah, there's definitely a lot more people. I actually overlap a little bit in the music industry with David Stock and with Jordan Block, who is, I actually do a lot of work with. So yeah, it's cool. It's great to have Skylemar community in the music industry.
Nice. What's Jordan Block doing these days?
Um, he is managing a couple really cool artists, and he's working for this company called Indify that's like doing some really cool independent music stuff.
Nice. Epic. And Stock is still in Asia, right? Working with Asian.
Yeah, yeah, but he's doing his thing as well. He's killing it. So that's cool. It's always been nice to go to you know, I would meet up to hang out with Stock at Warner Records. So it's just like always a cool thing.
Yeah. Uh,
Um,
all right. And then last question here. So this is a little bit of kind of a segue in terms of, so
love the
you
segue.
came to your first summer at Skylemar. This will be the last question, by the way. At 10 years old, what advice can you give to young guys coming into their first summer at Skylemar?
My first summer at Skylemar. So it was kind of like the first time in my life that I had been thrown into something by myself. I had two family friends that had gone there, but I think 1 year after I came, they left. So I really it was my first time meeting new friends in that capacity. And I think just going with an open mind, and also, this is the kind of like older advice that I hate giving now because it makes me feel like I'm old, but really enjoy all of it, like really drink it in, because it's something so special that when you're older and you're looking back on it, you can't even put into words how great it was. And just like there are certain things that'll happen, certain times will go out in the morning and the sun will hit a certain way, or like I'll hear a song or whatever it is, and it just reminds me of like what an incredible, carefree, just fun time that was, and how much I looked forward to the summer every year, especially now because the summer is just a hotter version of the rest of the year. And I'm still working and doing stuff. But yeah, so I would say, come in with an open mind, even if you don't know anyone, because there's a lot of really great people, and just appreciate it all.
All right, let's go. All right, Tasty, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
This has been great, and
Yes.
looking forward to hearing more of your work.
Yeah.